What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Tuffy Talk Live Show. You got myself, Lade Smith, Greg the Leg here. We are excited to get to a lot of NC State stuff here today. As there has been a non-revenue ACC Championship we got to talk about a good bit. A lot to talk about in the baseball world. Maybe not so positive as it was last week, Greg, but we owe it to the fans still to talk through it here and give some NC State fans some thoughts here, the good and Absolutely. The bad. But also, too, as well, though, you got some Hurricanes hockey going on right now. As of this recording, the Hurricanes are up 1-0 versus Ottawa. And, I can't, as much as I would love to poke at Greg and say, Greg, we're up 1-0. Tampa Bay's down 0-1. I know he's immediately going to come back with the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. So I'm not even going to try to poke fun at Greg.
You know better.
I know. So anyway, but with that being said, though, I do want to start off with one thing, Greg, here before we get to the NC State stuff here. And it was a question that I saw on ESPN today, actually, and I wanted to, I had some immediate thoughts to it, being a former hockey player myself, and I know you follow hockey pretty predominantly here, also with other sports as well. But with actually, before we even asked the question that I saw on ESPN today, I do want to say, as it says down there in the banner, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, questions that you have, make sure to put them in the chat, and they'll pop down right down there in that bottom square, and we will answer them and discuss them right here on the live show today. With that being said, Greg, there is a question around, is the Stanley Cup the hardest trophy to win in sports? And I have my immediate thought for sure, but I want your thought, Greg, and I'm trying to figure out if this is a debate we can get into here, or if this is you and I together can just squash any other doubts of anybody who's thinking otherwise, listening or watching the show.
Yeah, I tend to believe it is, just because of gosh, I hate. It's a very baseball is a very hard sport to play. Again, you can make the argument that hitting a baseball is the toughest thing to do in sports. It's been often debated, but I just don't think that the amount of effort and physicality of any sport compares to hockey, except for football. But you only have to play 3 to 4 games to win a Super Bowl. You have to win math's hard. What is it, 18 game, more than 16 games to win a Stanley Cup? Is that right?
Correct.
Math, right?
Yep, 16.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. My favorite part of hockey is at the end of the season, after the trophy's been awarded, and then you hear about the injuries that the players have played through. and it would blow people's minds, like torn ACLs, broken hands, broken this, sprained that. It just feels like they're just built different. So yeah, that's why I think hockey, the Stanley Cup, is the hardest thing to win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, to kind of give a couple points to this here, just for curiosity's sake here to this point, but obviously, yeah, the format, with the NFL, it's, one game wins all. They also talked about the NCAA tournament as well, which I'm like, in my opinion, you can't compare anything in college compared to anything in the pros, because then
You only win 4 games. That's not.
Well, but also too, like you have 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, sometimes even 40-year-olds trying to win the Stanley Cup, who've been playing the sport for a long time. Like it's like the creme de la creme, to win. And but yeah, so in terms of formats, like you said, so NFL, it's single game. MLB, a mix between short and long series. Also, the physicality, the injuries, there's not a single NHL team, especially once you get to the second, third, fourth rounds, that doesn't have a few injuries that are being played for, that they're being played through. It's just a given. But also to the depth, in order to be a Stanley Cup winning team, you can't just have a Kevin Durant and a Steph Curry and you're going to be competing for a championship. You got to have 5, 6, stars and then depth behind it, and you got to have solid goaltending, to win Stanley Cup. You don't necessarily need to have phenomenal, you don't need to have Bobrovsky necessarily, but you need to have solid goaltending. Period. It is a team win, but also too as well is the fact that like the NCAA tournament, one of the big things about it is, that people love is the randomness a little bit to it. Just in NCAA tournament, if you have a bad day, you have a 12 seed upsetting a 5 seed. You have sometimes, in a rare occasion, a 16 seed upsetting the 1 seed. Now, on no planet Earth would anybody say that 16 seed is truly a better team than the 1 seed. That's never been the case. Nobody's saying that the UVA team that lost was not as good as the 16 seed that upset them. But in the NHL, it's first of all, interesting stat. There's only been one time, Greg, in the last decade that the betting favorite to win the Stanley Cup actually won the Stanley Cup. Do you know which? You want to guess which team that was, Greg?
Was it my Lightning?
Nope.
I don't even, like I'm saying, like it happens infrequently. Yeah, I don't know. Give me a hint, I guess.
It's the team that's probably the betting favorite to win it right now.
So Colorado
2022.
Colorado 2022. They beat us. They beat the Lightning. So
to get rid of your 3-peat, Greg.
Right. Yeah. No, it's tough. There's been many a times when Tampa Bay won the President's Trophy for the league's best team and got bounced in like the first or second round. I mean, it just happens.
It happens.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. But again, I mean, the thing is that, there's a difference between being the best team in the regular season and being a best team in the playoffs. And a lot of that has to do with, chips falling properly. Got to have a little bit of puck luck. I mean, there's everything in life has a little bit of luck to it. But also too, as well, is the fact that just, certain players shine at the right times. And, like that's the other thing as well, is that when you look at most Stanley Cup winning teams, it has some seniority to it. Some guys that have been playing the game for a while that rise up at the proper times here. So,
all right. Again, well, let's do this then. Let's bring it back to college sports. What do you think of the college sports is the toughest to win?
All right. So that's tough. I mean, I feel like it's got to be either men's basketball or football, mostly just because of. Well, I checked that.
Baseball's pretty tough, man.
I was gonna say. I know. I checked that. I was like, well, yeah, no, baseball. Yeah, that's tough. That's actually a tough question. Only because I mean, football. It's a long season,
I would say football's gotten tougher, right? Because now you've added extra rounds to the playoffs and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got David Jones in here saying baseball, Greg.
Yeah,
So
that's
David
what I
Jones
was
is
gonna go
agreeing
with,
with you.
honestly. Just because you have a regional, right? And especially if you have to come out of the losers bracket, it's really tough in baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to win 3 games in a regional in some kind of combination, whether you win the first 3 or lose 1 and then win the next 3, or there's multiple combinations. So I won't go into that. But then you have to go win 2 out of 3 on a super regional, and then you got to go to the College World Series where you have to get out of pool play and then go win a best of 3 on top of that. So I think it's college baseball.
Okay.
Basketball's, basically you win 4 games in a row and you're done, but you have plenty of time. I mean, you play 2 games every weekend essentially. You got rest a little bit. Like that seems fairly common even like for a regular season. So yeah, I think it's college baseball personally.
Let me give you now. I'll give you the hide here to your jackal here with football and why I think it's. So first of all, 12-game regular season.
Sure.
If you make it to the playoffs, you're more than likely making it to your conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 13. And then you got,
depending on how you're seated.
Depending on how you're, and then depending on how you're seated, you have to play 4. You can play up to 4 more games to,
3 or 4.
playing 3 or 4 depending on your seating.
Yep.
So also too as well in terms of physicality, like we said, there's definitely a different level of physicality in football versus baseball, but also too as well in baseball, Greg. If you're let's say top 4 national seeds, let's say you're getting paired with the 13th, 14th, 15th, or 16th national seeds regionals.
If you hold chalk.
If you hold chalk, right. No, exactly. But my thing is that in football, I think in baseball, since there is so much more randomness, there's a lot of times that you can be very lucky and play like in our first College World Series, you play Rice. I can't remember who the seed was that lost, but you definitely, can have some randomness that goes your way to get you a good opportunity. But in college in the college football playoffs, those top 12 teams, now actually, I take that immediately back though, because freaking JMU is playing in it. Like, okay, okay. I take that back. So,
but you're only going to get 1 or 2 of those, right?
Exactly.
Out of the playoff.
You're getting one, and then you're playing juggernauts. Because I also think too, as well, I think one thing that makes it tougher for football is that it's a lot more top heavy, I feel like, in college football than it is top heavy in college baseball. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago when you got all ACC, all SEC in 24, when last time we made it, like, those were juggernauts. I granted, State did go on the road to Athens and upset the national seed there, but typically, out of the 8 teams that make it to Omaha, 5 to 6 are usually national seeds. You'll have maybe 1 or 2 sneak in as non-national seeds, but for the most part it holds pretty close to chalk. But yeah. No, it's a good debate.
It is a fun debate. Yeah, no. And MB24 coming in here right as we were transitioning. I love MB24 saying, I think baseball, due to how you have to plan your pitching. Yeah, I mean, just like it says, Greg, there's a big difference between going into the winner's bracket and going into the loser's bracket. Like those first 2 games are 80% of the regional, honestly.
How do you plan your pitching, right? Obviously you go all in with your chips for game 1, and then depending on how it goes, if you go extra innings, you got to use extra pitchers. If you got a pitcher that kind of struggles, I mean that all dictates how it can turn out for you in the long term. But yeah, no, fun debate.
Yeah. So with that being said, Greg, I put out a tweet out there saying that, listen, like, we all understand there's a difference between the revenue sports and the non-revenue, men's basketball, football versus the rest here. But, at the end of the day, when you win an ACC title, especially in a conference as heavy in women's tennis as the ACC is, you got to give them their roses for sure.
No, so absolutely. No, they had a tough path to a championship and they ran through it.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously we're going to talk here to start here about the NC State women's tennis team winning the ACC title second time in program history, second time in the last 4 years, both under Coach Simon Ershaw. Went into the ACC tournament ranked 13th nationally, the number 3 seed in the tournament, which Greg, again, I mean, if you don't know anything about women's tennis, they were ranked 13th nationally, but ranked the 3 seed in the ACC tournament. So again, very, very top heavy ACC conference here. But to get there, they had to beat the number 6 seed Cal, who was number 21 in the country, swept them 4-0. And then they had to go against the number 2 seed UNC, who was number 6 nationally, won 4-2. And also during that matchup, Mia Slama, who's the MVP, and rightfully so, beat the 2025 NCAA singles champ Reese Brontmeyer from UNC as well to do it. So, again, just in my opinion, and we can honestly get into another debate of which win was bigger, because I mean UNC was actually the highest ranked national team in terms of number 6 in the country, and a 2 along the way. In order to get there, we had to beat the NCAA singles champ in order to get there as well. And then to wrap it all up, you had to beat the number 1 seed Virginia, who's number 7 in the country, and you swept them 4-0. Got the doubles point, and then got the first 3 single wins to wrap it up here. Yeah. So
I agree with you. I think the Carolina victory was more impressive just because you did go through the singles champion. For me, like, I get it. You get ranked 6, 7, 4, 5, whatever. Some of that's subjective. Rankings are very subjective. But if you go out and beat a national title winner, then that's an exclamation point in my book.
Yeah. Well, and also too, as well, like, one of the things that was forgotten about, I feel like in my opinion, is the fact that we had 2 tennis players win the doubles national championship earlier this season.
Yeah.
So when you add that,
2 weeks ago,
so when you add those 2 things together, it's been an extremely impressive season, to say the least, for sure, for Coach Earnshaw. So hats off to him there.
Yeah, that's another great hire, just under the radar. Like, again, because like you said, it's a non-rev sport. Don't get a lot of love. No, they do everything to market themselves, to get people to come out. And I think definitely if you're, if you're into any kind of tennis, it's kind of fun. Like, I've been to a couple of matches. Unfortunately, it falls in a line a lot of times with baseball season. So it's hard for me to make things, but if I can get over there for, an hour or 2, I've done that multiple times, and it's fun, whether it's indoors or outdoors. It is tennis, but it gets a little raucous. I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, and to highlight even more of how impressive this win was, NC State lost to Virginia during the regular season, just 8 days before they faced each other in the ACC tournament. And UVA was 21-5 overall, undefeated in the ACC, 12-0. And again, I say this again, Greg, the ACC is extremely difficult women's tennis. To go undefeated in the regular season, that's tough. And you beat them.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how the big tournament plays out as far as the seedings. Does the state get a break with being the ACC champion and knocking off, UVA and Carolina on the way? Like, will they get a better seed? How much does the committee value regular season versus postseason? Because again, it's just as hard, whether it's a postseason or a regular season match. Now, I think the UVA match was close when we lost. Do you remember the score?
4-2. I'm pretty sure it's 4-2.
Yeah, it was decided in the singles matches. But so yeah, we came back, and then we handled Carolina pretty well, even though the matches were close. So the overall score doesn't look as close as it really was. But State was able to prevail in that match. So yeah, I again can't say enough about Coach Ershaw and what he's built over there.
Yeah, huge shout out. North Wolf coming in here. The environment at college tennis match is electric. If there is a big and vocal crowd, which was the case with the Wolfpack women versus UNC in Virginia in the ACC tournament, then watch out for here for sure. And yeah, I mean, and that's the thing we have to remind state fans all the time is, once again, a lot of times they're literally women's tennis is like not only offering you, as all admission is free to go watch the women's tennis matches. A lot of times they're giving you like cookies, free pizza, you name it, to get you to come. It's
and then to the point of here that North Wolf is making. That ACC Championship's over in Cary. Like, it's in our backyard. Like, there's no reason why, it does cost a few dollars to go to the ACC tournament. Not a lot. I think it was like $15-20 when I went a couple years ago. But it's a lot of fun, lots of matches happening. The Cary facility is very nice to go watch a tennis match. So but yeah, it's one of those championships is right in your backyard, and hopefully they had a good turnout. I was over in Winston, but I was definitely following it on my phone.
Yeah, no, watching out on TV, no, it was definitely a great turnout for sure. And again, I was extremely impressed for sure. I was not expecting a dominant win like that for sure. So again, it definitely makes me excited is that in the fact that a couple years ago we made it to the national championship match for UNC, fell up a little bit short here. So hey, this is a team I feel like that's going to go into the NCAA tournament under the radar, not really talked about, as much as they should be, and make some noise here for sure. So again, time will tell. Seeding, I think we should be able to find out more tomorrow. And hopefully we get a good run here, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the men fell a little short in the ACC tournament, but again, they'll make the big tournament as well. And they've got some talent on there. They can surprise some people. So again, you talked about puck luck earlier, but there is a such thing as seeding luck, and you got to get the right matchups. That goes a long way in determining your fate a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, huge hats off to Mia, Gabriella, Victoria, Coach Earnshaw, and the in-state women's tennis team on their ACC championship in dominant fashion here for sure, and excited to support and follow them as they go into the NCAA tournament here. So with that being said, the big thing here, Greg, is do not worry. Do not fret whatsoever. The Burnerverse has confirmed that Paul McNeel is coming back. So if the Burnerverse says it, Greg, it's happening, baby. Like, I mean, what do we even need IPS for? What do we need Pack Pride? What do we need the Wolfpacker for? Like, the Burnerverse has us covered, Greg. So if they say it's happening.
Yeah. No, just go ahead and stamp it and keep moving to the next topic. So what else you got?
Again, it's just funny to me how, like, you can keep in mind, folks, like, this is like the great thing about burners is more like is 99.9% of the time. I'm not saying it's an absolute, because I'm sure there's a
few,
but there's a few that maybe that don't that most all of them do not have a name, a face, or anything like that tagged to them, so they can say whatever they want to say, and and if they're wrong, then who cares? Like it does nothing to them. They don't need to stand by it or anything. They could just, if they want to, delete it and create a different burner, and who cares? So yeah. But with that being said, though, I mean, I do find it interesting, Greg, because I think that's the big thing. Yeah, no, like Mongo said, not all burners. Yeah, again, it's, to each his own here, but 1%, exactly. But yeah, Greg, so kind of talk to me in terms of, and let me know in the comments here too as well, y'all, what you think about Paul McNeel. Like, is it annoying to you at all that we haven't heard a decision yet from Paul? Like, what's your kind of stance right now on the Paul McNeel return or transfer or NBA decision?
Yeah, well, the NBA decision is always going to be like a little bit longer process, but I would be shocked if he does not return back to college, just because, like, I don't think he's got a good enough draft grade to where the money is better in the NBA. Obviously there's pros and cons, right? You get your pro career going a little bit faster, but at this point it doesn't matter, because the money is definitely, unless you're a lottery pick, I think the money's probably better for at least in the first year for a college. But
especially because this NBA class is so loaded too, as well.
It's a pretty good class, and again, they slot value, and so if you're above pick whatever, what you're going to be roughly making, and then you already know kind of what your market value is at the college level. So yeah, but as far as like making a decision, definitely have to make the right decision for themselves. They should not be influenced by agents or fans or coaches of other teams. Like, you really have to sit down and figure out what's best for you and your family. and make sure that you're getting good sound advice. And I feel like a lot of times these players are not getting good advice, whether they're getting family, friends in their ear, whether they're getting agents in the ear, whether they're getting coaches in their ear. There's a lot of times, you hear that players regret their decisions because they did this or that for this reason. Are you a player that wants to get paid? Are you a player that wants to go win a championship? Are you wanting to be a player who's got to get paid, but maybe not as much paid to go chase the championship? Are you going to go to a crappy team and go max out your dollar value? Those are things that only you as a player know what you want to do. If you're a player worth your salt, I would take decent money, but then also go to a contending team, right? So what is more important in your life?
Yeah.
But as far as the timeline goes, you can't hold teams hostage, and I feel like we're getting into that area, because last year, he went through this process and he came back pretty quickly. Now I don't think his value was nearly what it is this year. He had very little playing time the year before under Keats, and then he blossoms this last year. And there was no way to project that, right? And I think that's the thing. That's the thing that we're doing with a lot of other players in a tier lower than McNeel. But at some point, you have to make a decision. Be an adult, make a decision, and roll with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, and Chilton's saying the thing I think a lot of NC State fans are feeling, which is I'm fine with whatever he does, just don't go to UNC.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Greg. I mean,
Well,
I would be
it
shocked.
sounds like one of our former players might be headed there.
Well, and
And we'll talk about that. But
yeah, we could talk about that. But yeah, in terms of Paul, I don't know. I've he's a North Carolina guy. He's been NC State for 2 years now. Heck, there was even a video of him 2 years ago when we got beat by UNC, and the UNC guy was smack talking to us, and Paul McNeel yelled at him, and you could read his lips, but he said, "Puck you," to the UNC guy. And so again, I think he's fully bought into which side of the rivalry he falls on, but also too as well. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I will say, look, I for all the jokes we like to make at Carolina's expense, they did.
There's a money difference.
Well, not only that, but and I feel the counter argument coming if I make this comment. But
yes,
you have a guy that's mentored Steph and mentored LeBron and can get you to the league, right? Right? No, look, I get it. But then you have Belichick, who just feels like the complete opposite of what this feels like. So how important is that to Paul McNeel? Does he feel like he can get developed under Gainy and get the exposure that he needs to get in order to be seen? I feel yes. Honestly, any team worth their salt, and when I say team, NBA team, they're going to do their due diligence to find guys and scout them and then figure out if they're a prospect that they want to deal with. I don't think that you need the Carolina name across your chest to be rated or ranked any higher. I think Gainy, I honestly, if anything, and this is where the argument comes in about Paul versus potential other recruits or commits, can Gainy get him to the next level defensively, right? Because if anything, the knock on McNeel's game is he doesn't play enough defense, right?
Correct.
And that's something where Gainy could help him, right? Can Carolina or another team help him that way? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not saying yes or no, but again, that's a decision he has to make. Who can best develop him for his future?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because also other thing too as well that State fans can't forget about as well is the long relationship that Gainy and McNeel have. When Gainy originally recruited McNeel out of high school when Gainy was at Tennessee. So that has to pull a little bit of weight here for sure too as well. So I mean, just wanted to kind of ask Greg, do you think that this delay is because he's weighing college options, or do you think it truly is just a matter of him him letting the NBA process see itself through?
Yeah, I mean, not being in the know, right? I would say comfortably, I bet it's a little bit of each. But again, I think at this point, well, don't they go through? So this is what I'm trying to remember as far as the process. Did they go to the combine? Like, what does the process look like in the timeline that it looks like? Like, I'm not much of a NBA guy, so I don't really follow all of that stuff. Like, I follow NFL and MLB, but I'm not really an NBA guy, so I'm not sure what that like when you have to, pull out of the draft process. And so, does anyone know that? Like, that's what I'm not sure about.
Yeah, let us know in the comments here for sure. It's definitely I'm the first thing from a big NBA follower too. I know that you get, invited to
The combine and all
well,
that.
also to like teams like we'll ask you to come and work out for them, things like that too as well. So yeah, I think it's more of just weighing college options at this point.
I think so. Yeah, I do. I think that as good as Paul is, I don't think he's ready for the NBA, or the NBA is not ready for him, I would say. Because it takes two to tango to become an NBA player, so I hear.
Sure.
Because if that were the case, I'd have been an NBA player a long time ago. But yeah, I think that like Paul is definitely a prospect for the NBA. I don't, again, like you said earlier, like the draft class is really loaded this year. If he were to get drafted, I don't believe he's a first round draft pick this year. I could see a scenario where he could be a second round draft pick, but like even second round draft picks, like their contracts aren't like as guaranteed. Typically, they become two-way players, and at that point, also the money is not as good. Unless you make the NBA roster, then it changes. But I'm not sure. And the question was in here in the comments, like, what do we think that his number looks like? I don't know, man. Like I've heard, like I feel like the floor is like 2.5 million, and I feel like the ceiling is about 3.5 million. If I had to guess, like again, I have no thing out there, but I know we'll talk about women's basketball in a little bit, and some of the rumors out there, what we heard for some of the women's players ended up being the number. Yeah, so I think it's somewhere between 2.5 and 3.5. And again, does State want Paul McNeel? Like you can go pay Paul whatever number you want to give him, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that precludes that, but then you have a budget for the rest of your players. So
right.
You have to keep that in mind. And I think, we've talked about this before. If you just because you have money doesn't mean you have to go spend it all, right?
Right.
You want to spend it smartly. And I don't like if it were me, I would be comfortable with Paul around like 2.75. Like
Correct.
that would be my number where I would be like, okay, like again, you want value. And as much as I hate to say this, and I compare us to professional sports, we would be considered a small market team. And like, yes, you can go overpay for some of your players, and maybe sometimes you have to in order to retain them, as I've seen on the female side. But like you can't dedicate 1/4 of your budget to one player. And if State's numbers around 9 million, 10 million, if those rumors are true, if you pay Paul 3, that's a third of your budget right there. And like it's a little much to pay one player that number. Player that number.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Bradley M7899 hidden in the chat. Do you think that we shouldn't be paying above even 2 million for Paul? And here's my thing, Greg. And I've heard this said multiple times by multiple different areas as well, and I completely agree with it. Then Paul is still such a huge work in progress. There's no doubt his
defensive side.
Defensive side, but even too as well, his go to the basket game is still a work in progress as well.
Yeah, he's not a playmaker. He's a catch and shoot guy.
He is an elite shooter for sure. That he does not need to work on, like that. That's not the area he needs to work on. But so that's my big issue for sure, is that if you're going to spend, above 30%, of your budget, is that the real, I mean, now again, it could work out. That's the thing though. Again, like if Gainey has enough faith and is willing to take that risk on Paul, hey, listen, like at the end of the day, everybody's got to make risks for sure.
And here's that's a great point. Go ahead.
Yep. Because the thing I love, because everybody says, well, if you have Christian Hammond, if you have Preston Edmead, who are both known as shooters here, then why do you need Paul? It's like, well, listen, at the end of the day, I don't want to put necessarily all my chips in the Paul basket all year round, especially too in a game like basketball.
You saw him last year. He scored 41 and then barely can't score 10.
Right. Yeah. Like it happens. It goes through ebbs and flows here.
He's very streaky.
He's very streaky. So,
the other point I'll make too, like again, and you started to allude to it, was what kind of talent are you putting around him, right?
Correct.
And do you feel that you can go get value for guys that are being undervalued, right? Like you can go pay $700,000 for a guy that you see a lot of upside based on your system, and at the end of the day, you don't really know you don't know if you got good value. Say we go out and pay Paul 2.5, 3.5, whatever that number becomes. If you surround him with the right talent around him, and then you can kind of protect him defensively, that's a big thing, right? Like, do you get a shot blocker, rim protector, where if a player beats Paul off the dribble and he can kind of back him up defensively, okay, then like you're good. But we saw instances last year where we got beat off the ball and one of our forwards, like Van Lubin or Sonya or somebody got in foul trouble because they're having to defend twice as hard. They're defending their man plus the man that gets beat off the ball. So yeah, if you feel like you can work budgetarily around whatever number you're comfortable paying with Paul, then go for it. And again, like I said, we may have to overpay for Paul if we want to keep him. But again, if you overpay for Paul, you better, it's like rob Peter to pay Paul, literally, right? If you do that, then you better go find some diamonds in the rough, and that they have to pay off for you.
Well, and to kind of transition this conversation a little bit here to another area, one of the things I love that Gainey has done. So honestly, like I love how Gainey has handled the transfer portal so far. Like it really does seem like he took his time, he evaluated, and now you're starting to see a little bit of the, like these players showing up that people didn't even know we were even interested until they showed up. And once you start to, I mean, and it's a mix between power forwards, you have guards, you have even centers coming. You have the guy from US Southern California, 7'3" guy who's taking a visit this upcoming weekend. So here's the thing is that like it's obvious from the guys he's bringing to on visits. He's not waiting for McNeel. At the end of the day, I think that there is going to come a point here, probably by this coming weekend, where at the end of the day, if the opportunity is on the table, Gainey might just have to say, hey, listen, McNeel, like, we have a guy we're very excited about, like, especially if it's a big, because here's the thing too, Greg, if you want a solid center, 7-foot center, it's going to cost you at least $3 million at the very least.
Depending on who they are, but yeah, that's a fair assessment.
For a solid big, that's what the market is for sure. And that you've heard I've heard between 3-4 million is around what you've heard, which is just it's market value. And so with that being said, if like let's say the center comes in, if Gainey is really high on him, because here's my thing is I think that you can't get both. You're either going to get a solidified center or you're going to get McNeel, in my opinion. I don't know if you could do both with the NIL budget we have. Do you disagree, Greg?
Again, like it goes back to what I said just a few minutes ago. Yes, you have to prioritize. And if you get McNeel, like what can you surround him with? Like again, what is more important? Do you want a shooter or a defender? Now we saw again, I hate comparing last year to this year because one, we don't even know what this year's team's going to look like. We don't know what they're going to do defensively. But I told you when they hired Gainey, as long as we don't switch defensively on every single play, I think we're going to be okay. But with that being said, you saw what Virginia did to us 3 times last year. And they ran big after big after big at us. And we had no answer. We just got beat down 2 out of the 3 games. Like it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, and yet Virginia did it. And we weren't even close until the last game. And I think we lost by like 7 points. It would have taken the game of our life to beat Virginia last year. But because we just got destroyed, like they probably blocked, 15, 16 shots in the 3 games we played against them, at least. We got out rebounded probably 2-1 in those matches.
Easily.
And so That's Virginia's philosophy. And so if you're trying to win the ACC, there's a good chance you're going to have to go through Virginia at some point, right? And Carolina, is going to get bigs. Duke's going to be bigs. But by the way, it's really weird that so far in the portal, Duke didn't have anyone that really went in the portal that was in the top 100, and they really haven't gotten anybody in the top 100 yet, which is very interesting. But I digress. So yeah, I think you're gonna have to get big. Like a 6'7" guy at center is not gonna cut it. Like anything less than 6'10" is not gonna cut it, and you probably need 2 of those.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and also too as well, because again, just like the market it's a known fact at this point. The market for centers is just so much more bloated than every other position.
And it's interesting too because the philosophy in basketball has shifted over the years. Like back in the 80s, it was dominated by big men. Like you look at Patrick Ewing, you look at Keem Olajuwon, you look at Karl Malone. He wasn't necessarily a true big, but he was like a power forward, right? Like the game ran through the bigs, like you're back to the basket, work it, whatever. Now it's shooting. It's just like if you don't got 4 shooting guards, then what are you even doing? But now you're starting to see the philosophy kind of shift back to big men, right? With Wemby in the NBA, like he's a new breed of big man, right? He's not your typical prototypical 6'10", 7'1", just beast of a linebacker center. They're more nimble, quick, European, do a multitude of things.
Right.
And you saw that last year with, again, I go back to UVA. They had like 3 European dudes at bigs, and they all did something a little different. So you either adapt or you become a dinosaur.
That's right. Yeah. And here's my thing too, as well, is at the end of the day, it's patience, but patience, but also too, I love the fact that it's clear Gainey is moving, unlike another former coach that it is like dust, it's like the little dust ball moving in a desert right now.
Or like your browser spinning, right? Like it just keeps spinning.
It's just spinning. It's not doing anything. Yeah. But but again, with both guys, I still would say, even though I'm not a fan of that other guy, for both guys and for every coach, I would say patience. Like it's.
Did you see, speaking of that other coach, I don't know if I shared it with us. I know I shared it with Ryan the other day. It was a big black guy on a rant. We can't play it here, but it's just Google in or LSU fan loses it on Will Wade. It is one of the funniest, like 20-second clips you will ever see.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you offline when we get done with this. But
yeah, love that.
Yeah, no, it's just patience. And to the last point about McNeel, I think it has to come to a head this week at some point. I think that I think Gainey will probably give an ultimatum because, again, he doesn't want to be held hostage in this situation. He's got to present, probably, if he hasn't already, and this may already happen. I'm obviously just speculating here. He's going to say, this is our final number. This is what we're going to put around you. Are you in or you out? If you're in, great. Let's get it signed up. Let's get it moving so that way I can continue to complete and build a roster around you. If not, Paul, thank you for your service. You've been a hell of a guy. You didn't have to come back this last year, but we're going to move on and go get the team that we need to go compete to win a championship. And I think that's probably how the conversation will go. I think there's a mutual respect from both of them, but I don't think either one of them is going to play. Well, I will tell you this, that Gainey will probably not play the games. I don't think McNeel is playing a game. I think he's truly going through the process, but he some point has to make that decision. Like his representation, his friends and family cannot make that for him. He needs to man up and make that decision, whatever that is, and then live with the decision.
Yep. And then the last thing I want to say about Paul is the fact that everybody, I've seen 1 or 2 people point out about how last year Paul, committed to the previous coach pretty early that he was coming back. And saying, well, why hasn't he done that here? Well, I would say, well, his value this year is definitely is much higher than it was last year. I mean, he tied the AC record in 3-pointers made in a game. I mean, that by itself is
tied the state single season record.
Right. Yeah. And the tied the state single season record as well, which, I mean, anybody who's followed college basketball knows that NC State's been known for having some pretty daggum good 3-point shooters in its history.
Which, by the way, do you remember who holds that record?
Scott Wood.
No. No, it just happened a few years ago.
Ralston Turner?
Nope.
couple years ago. Terquavian?
Nope.
Man, I should know this. How many years are we talking ago?
2 years ago, Final Four run.
Oh, DJ Horn?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Right.
Oh,
That's what
so
I'm saying. Like, that's a
NBA
trivia
24.
question. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people don't realize like he tied the record, or he set the record. And that, again, he didn't shoot it at the same clip that Scott did, but he put up a ton of 3-pointers that year. A ton.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, DJ won.
And to kind of talk like big philosophy talk here, Greg, as we kind of move into the women's side here, I am fully on board with the philosophy of, listen, get you a lot of solid upside guys. I'm not really a fan of the UNC, go all in on 2 guys and, kind of fill in around, just because of the fact that, like, you look at Michigan. What did Michigan do? Did Michigan get, that one absolute stud? No, I mean, they really got a lot of guys that were solid pieces for those teams. But the guy that even won the MVP, former UNC point guard, he was he's been terrible for us. We got rid of him, and he went and won the NCAA championship game MVP. They took guys that are solidified, producers, and put them together, and guess what? It turned into a national championship team.
Yeah, I mean, they created a cohesive unit, and they were able to go, win a national championship. And by the way, like, they were pretty much the dominant team for most of the season anyway. It was kind of like them in Arizona were kind of like the 2 1A, 1Bs that were the most consistent.
And what do those 2 things have in common? They're both great teams.
Yeah.
They're both great teams.
Yeah. I mean, this past year, you saw they put all their ducks into Caleb Wilson, and as good as Caleb Wilson was, he had a freak hand injury and he was out, and pretty much was the Dunsky of the season. And I think like a team like Michigan could probably have withstood an injury like that. Granted, Caleb Wilson is going to be a top 5 draft pick, with all intents and purposes, but you have to be careful when you have only one like superstar and you just have 4 guys around him to pass him the ball. It's a much tougher water to navigate.
Yep. So to answer MB24's question here, I guess we can answer this real quickly. I think it's all really just speculation, Greg. I mean, you've heard between 9 to 12, but it's just.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I mean, I kind of used the number 9 earlier in my discussion just as a nice number to say, hey, if you give Paul McNeel $3 million, that's a third of your budget. I do think it's somewhere around 10 to probably 11 million if I had to guess. It may. I think if I've heard what I heard is correct, like the solid budget is 10 to 11, but there's might be some discretionary funds we could tap into as an emergency. Hey, we need, like, kind of like what we did with Darion last year, and then who was the one that committed and then decommitted and then went to Kansas?
PJ. Yeah, we're actually talking to him now, or we whatever.
Yeah.
The center.
Why am I just anyway? So we found out with some, we got a couple extra dollars to get him to commit. We hit up the discretionary fund, or the slush fund, as I like to call it. And then, of course, thank you. Paul Mbaya. Thank you.
Paul Mbaya.
Yeah. I'm just like so they found some more funds to get him, from what I understand. And obviously he ultimately didn't commit. But I think the dollar bearers that would probably like to keep that number around 10 to 11, but can break the case open in emergency and pull out a couple of million if necessary. But again, that's not a sustainable, it's not a long-term success. I don't think you can kind of keep tapping in those emergency discretionary funds every year. I think, people that have to provide that money are going to get tired, especially if you're not like going to Final Fours and so on and so forth.
Exactly. So with that being said, though, switching over to women's basketball side, Greg, it's a very like tough situation there. It really just is, because because like you've seen it with like even South Carolina women's basketball, let's say, for example, who's been one of the dynasties of women's basketball over the last 5 to 8 years, always competing for a national title, one of the greatest women's basketball coaches of all time, Dawn Staley's coaching them. Yet still, year after year, they still lose money overall on the season from that program. And you
but
say,
you know
well, why
why,
is
right? But wait, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you go ahead, please.
Oh, it's the coach's salary. That's the
Right.
number one driving factor is that, you're paying, Dawn, Gino, there's probably a couple other coaches, but they're the
LSU,
two.
Mulkey.
Yeah, Mulkey, maybe even Texas coach Schaefer. They're getting top dollar. They're the top 1% earners of their sport. So in order to you just have a chance to be in the conversation, you got to pay up, and a lot of their stuff goes to the coaching and the staff as well, because again, they have top-notch staffs.
Yep. So with that being said, Greg, I mean, like, I think it was, what's her name? Audie Brooks, I think is her name. The transfer from Iowa State who just committed. What is it?
Cooks.
Yeah, Cooks. Committed to Oklahoma State, and it's been said that she's getting $1.4 million to go to Oklahoma State here. And I don't know, Greg, if we could even, give our whole NIL budget and
that's more than our budget.
That's more than our budget. So
maybe not quite. Our budget's right around 1.4. I'll say either a little less, a little more.
Yeah.
But what's half of 1.4?
700,000.
What if I told you that's what Tilda Trigger got to go to Washington?
Yeah, I mean,
so think about that as far as talent, right? So 1.4 and then a 700,000.
Yep.
So yeah,
I mean, here's my thing, Greg. Is this going to be a little bit of a decision? It's going to be a split road here. Either we're going to keep doing what we're doing and we're going to be middle to upper half of the ACC, or we're going to make some moves and invest. But also, too, if you do invest in women's basketball, where does it get pulled from? And I don't know if you could really tap the wells of any other non-revenue sport. I mean, there's not much there that you're going to get from that. But are you really going to pull away from men's basketball where you just invested a big sum right now? Probably not. Are you really going to pull away from football?
I mean, in football, the rumored number is 13 million. Like that's
nothing.
That's not even like, I don't know where that puts you in the top, 25, 50 or whatever, but it's rumored that Ohio State, who else? Alabama, those programs are in the $30 to $40 million range. Some may even say like teams are going to start approaching 50 million really quickly. So if we're here at 13, maybe we can get that number, depending on rev share and all that, maybe up to like maybe 16, 17. Like that's still not even close to what the big boys are paying. And you see what we're getting with that. And again, if you go play Moneyball, like maybe you get, fancy and create, stuff, but that's just where we are. And I hate, again, I say this every time, and I should just have this on recording. Like if people want to complain about where we're at in athletics,
correct,
then like let's do something. But yeah.
But again, too, it's like at the end of the day, like if I have $5, if I have $5, I want to donate, Greg. Like yes, like it's one thing to donate. Like Greg, I am willing to donate, but I also too football needs the money too. Women's basketball needs the money. Men's basketball needs the money. There's wrestling needs the money. Like there's all these different areas. And
so, I mean, we just
lost
Vince Robinson, a national champion.
Right.
Like he went to Nebraska. Probably got NIL. I would be willing to bet your paycheck that he got NIL.
I've heard it's rumored around $150,000 is what.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but again, it's something. That's $150,000 more they didn't have.
Yeah, but so with that being said, though, to Wee Jones' question of why do the Huskies have so much money for women's basketball is crazy. Why does Oklahoma State have so much money? Oklahoma State's
got stupid money. They've always had.
Well, they got stupid money, but they just hired a brand new football coach. But yet
they don't have a man as a coach anymore.
Well, exactly. So it's like whoa, like Oklahoma State was way out of left field for them to get Cooks. Like that was shocking for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think I had them in my top 10. Yeah, I don't know. I joked with a friend of mine. I said that's a lot of money to go buy chicken fried steak, which apparently is the official meal of Oklahoma. so she'll be able to buy a couple of chicken fried steaks. We kind of talked about this once before. If you're making $1.4 million, or if you're a basketball player making $3 million, at what point should you be paying for your own education?
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's sad. It really is sad because it's like, listen, like when you make that kind of money,
Yeah.
unfortunately, education is just like that's just like the little gnats, flying in your ear. Like for most all athletes, it's like, yeah, like listen, I don't care. Like I'm making 1.4 million before taxes and everything like that, and paying your agents. I get that. Like at the end of the day, they're not actually taking 1.4 million, put in their pocket. I get that, but still. Right. Their tail's taking home a considerable sum, and way more than it would take for them to pay for their own education. So, but I don't know, Greg. Like, do you think that kind of ties into like, do you see the conversation being similar or different than the conversation around paying for performance?
Well, it's definitely not a pay for play system, allegedly. Right. Yeah, I don't know. This is going to get into a much deeper conversation, and I don't know if we want to get there tonight. There'll probably be time for that, like in the summer. But I at some point they're going to have to rein this stuff in, right? And again, we talked about it a little bit last week, and I think you're going to, if the NCAA is not going to own it, maybe Congress needs to step in at some point and regulate this stuff. But allegedly too, the other thing was like this was supposed to all be kind of being reined in because of the clearinghouse, and like anything over a certain dollar value was supposed to be cleared, and they were going to tighten this up, and it just doesn't feel like it's being tightened up like they said it was going to be. And again, it was all kind of on the honor system, but like, don't get caught. If you do, we're going to hammer you. And now you're seeing like the penalties for out of cycle recruiting, for committing players. Like you hear all this stuff, but again, I don't see a lot of action being done.
So so kind of pulling it back here to women's basketball, Greg, the transfer portal window tomorrow, is that for women's basketball too, or is it just men's basketball? Do you know?
They should be pretty close to one another because I think they only opened up within 24 hours. So I don't think they both close at the same time. So
the reason I'm saying that is because there's a specific player in NC State women's baskall's roster that, to my knowledge, hasn't put her name.
Who are you talking about?
Camille Pierre.
She's locked in. She already signed her paperwork.
Ooh, was that announced?
No.
Ooh,
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but yeah. She has signed.
Oh shoot! Breaking news, y'all. That's so
I don't know.
Okay.
I was supposed to say anything, but I'm not naming who I got it from, so I guess I'm okay. But from I've heard from multiple people. I can say that I've heard from 4 or 5 people that it's already happened.
Okay, let's go. That's huge. Okay, so now,
but that being said, I mean, things can. I've heard look at football from a couple of years ago when guys supposedly signed and then they were in the portal. Within a couple of days. If you remember all the defensive backs that we lost, what was it, 2 years ago? So they had all signed as well. But all signs point that Camille will be back next year.
Well, and even just using common sense, Greg, to your defense here too. Like at the end of the day, if she hasn't put her name in the portal yet, what's she waiting for? Like if she's gonna go, she's
maybe she's a procrastinator. That's how she does her homework too. She waits till the last minute to do her homework.
That's how she did last year, right? So
well, she was well. If you remember, she's one of those people that are causing this whole out of cycle because she never truly entered the transfer portal.
The ghost transfer.
Then she kind of just showed up on campus and like, I'm here to play ball, and
that's big. So with that being said, Greg, around Camille and Zoe, what do you kind of predict? Do you and Caden Samuels as well also too, now she's coming back. So around that, what do you see, Greg? What do you see kind of happening there to fill out this roster? Because it needs depth.
Yeah. So a couple of things that are interesting, like
and Lunan, Destiny Lunan.
Yeah,
as well.
She came back. That was there was some stuff there where she was kind of on the fence, but I think once Zam went in the portal, I think that kind of solidified for her to stay. At least it feels like, because again, she would have been buried in the depth chart. And And again, we've talked about this before where, players just don't want to sit around and wait anymore. There's plenty of opportunity. There's money. I get it. But yeah, I still feel like you need a center at this point. Obviously, with Tilda leaving, you didn't have a lot of depth there. Mallory has left. Can Maddie Cox play center? I don't know. To me, she's more of a 4. Do you slide Camille over to play center? She's not tall, but she's got the Van Allen Lubin arms. She's got a really big wingspan. And she's kind of a dog, as far as rebounding and all of that. But I don't know if you necessarily want to put her through that. She's, so you need that. I don't know how many times we're going to say this. You need a shooting guard. You need something. But guess what? They cost money. And, if you're bringing back Pierre and you're bringing back Zoe, that's going to be a good chunk of your budget, right?
Yep.
And what are you paying to retain players? Because if they were making, say, 75,000, well, if you're going to retain them, you're probably going to bump them up to 100,000. Again, just making up random numbers. I have nothing, to say that that's what the budget looks like. But again, typically, if you're going to keep a player, you're going to give them a little raise. Kind of keep them. To keep them around, to not let them be enticed to go into the portal. So how much are you paying to these other players to round out the roster? How much do you have left over?
Right.
Are there discretionary funds? I'm not so sure about that. But yeah, in my book, you need a scorer and a center. And obviously I know a few things that I don't really want to share here that, now that I already said the Camille thing, but I'm not sure we have, like, yes, can you go get somebody? Yes, you can go get somebody. Is it going to be to the level that you want? Probably not.
Right. Yeah. No. And so I think honestly at this point, locking in Zoe, locking in Camille, you're going to have to find the diamond in the rough at this point. Like you're more likely not going to go get a stud or a solidified option. You're going to go get some either players that were top scorers at the lower divisions or lower conferences, or you're going to go get a bench player from another school and take a shot on them. That's at this point what you're doing.
At this point, we don't have a whole lot of players on the roster, so you need to go find some. You're right.
You need to fill it out.
You need to fill it out, and I think right now, we only have 7 or 8 on the roster. So you probably need at least 4 more, 3 to 4 more.
Yeah.
Because if it's 8, you're okay with 11 probably. Because you still have to have practice, unless you're running managers out there for practice.
No. No.
But yeah, you're gonna have to figure this out. And again, this is where you have to be really smart with your money. This is where a GM would maybe help, maybe an analytical person to help. Again, if you want to put some money, but again, the problem is if you handle it, if you sign a GM and you sign an analytical person for women's basketball, they cost money. They don't really, quote unquote, make you money, if you will. Like, yes, they go out and find players, but they're not a direct reflection of value added for revenue. And that falls on the head coach, on top of everything else he's already doing. Or he or she, depending on, what program.
Yeah. So, but the other question or the other thing too, I want to talk about here with the portal here, and this actually goes back to the men's side here real quick, is Patrick Stacey as well too. I don't know if we necessarily talked about him last week, but getting announced being assistant GM. No, not yet. Not yet.
No.
Well, what?
Go look at his Twitter profile.
Did it update?
Well, it was updated for a minute and then it changed real quick.
Oh, interesting. GM at Snell U. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so what'd you take for that, Greg? What'd you take for that?
Like, I love Patrick Stacey. I think he's a great dude. I think he's a really smart guy. He's going to be an asset. From it sounded like everything that I've read in the tea leaves that he has a role within the program. I just don't think that it's been officially worked out in the whole, because there was Locked On, our guy Grayson over there got a screenshot when it did say GM for a minute, but then it quickly came down and changed over to what you see now. But I hope in the end that he does become the GM. I think he's a really smart guy. A lot of the stuff that you saw, he had a hand in as far as doing that. He's a very analytical guy. He'd started up his own company and, was kind of running that. Really smart guy. Again, like I said, it was at the Chicago White Sox for a minute doing analytical stuff. And I think he would be a great asset in that role, should they choose for that to be his role. But yeah, I hope that it does become him as the GM.
Yeah. So time will tell here, but yeah, no. So you think that was just a little slip up, Greg? A little?
Yeah, I think maybe some missing communication or something. Or I don't think it was anything. I mean, he's a great dude. I don't think it was anything, crazy. He's definitely still around, doing things for the program. I just don't know in what official title capacity, but he's definitely out there, helping Gainy do things. And maybe it's just a part of, filling out process. If Gainy's comfortable with that title for him, maybe they just got to work together a little bit just to kind of see how one another and how they work and communicate.
Yeah. So, other than that, Greg, any other final thoughts here about basketball before we make a transition here?
No. A lot of things are going to come into focus here in the next probably 48 to 72 to 96 hours. Lots of folks making visits, Zoom calls this week.
Yep.
More on the men's side. I haven't heard a lot on the women's side. That's kind of, and that's the other thing too about the women that I want to say, like, you haven't heard a lot from the media side of the house. Typically, and unfortunately, the male sports kind of dominate the news headlines. And that's what you're seeing right now. You're not seeing a lot of things get out with the women, from the Pack Prides and whatever that is, Pack Power now. Yeah. Or IPS. It's been kind of quiet on those fronts. Again, just like last year, Gainey's the new shiny toy, excuse me. And they're going to get all the attention and kind of spin up the fever, if you will.
Sure. So with that being said, I do want to give another shout, actually, from a non-revenue perspective here to our track and field team. Had Sadie Engelhart specifically,
she crushed it.
2 school records and within the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, ran the fastest 800-meter time in NC State school history last week, and then came back and set the 1500-meter record this weekend. So again, just another feather in the cap here for the track and field team and cross country team that is quietly been a huge shining star for the in-state athletics program for the last 5-6 years here. So huge shout out too, for sure. So Sadie Engelhart, congratulations, love it, keep doing what you're doing. But with that being said, Greg, I did want
one more
go ahead
real quick. I don't know where they ended up at, but I think they, NC State women's golf. I know they had their moment at the baseball 2 Sundays ago for the Masters, but an important, little tidbit that was put out there: for the first time ever in program history, they advanced to match play at the ACC women's tournament, which was really impressive. They knocked off knocked off's not the right word, but they finished ahead of some big time programs. We're only 2 shots off of the third place standings, but through the first 3 rounds, Stanford was number 1 in the country, right? Then you had number 26 SMU, number 9 Wake Forest, number 10 Duke, number 45 North Carolina State, and then we finished ahead of North Carolina, who was 12, Clemson, who was 45, Virginia Tech, who was 39, and Virginia, that was 33. So a hell of a showing by the women's golf program. And then they did fall in match play to Duke, 2-1. So they did play them tough. But they should definitely make a little bit of noise at the nationals. You'll have some qualifiers there.
Yeah. So love it as well. Give a shout out to women's golf as well. Once again, Wolfpack Nation, those non-revenue sports, can't sleep on them one bit. Can't sleep on them one bit here. But with that being said, before we talk some baseball here, I did want to pull up one video here that got a lot of talk on the Twitter side here. And that's in-state men's basketball coach Justin Gainey here doing the siren at the Hurricanes game, Greg. I don't know if you saw this video, but Gainey was getting him, man.
I support it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and that was a grade A performance, especially compared to the performance of our previous coach when he did the siren, which was lackluster at best for sure. So take that with what you will, make what conclusions you would like out of the performances on both sides here. But man, huge shout out Justin Gainey, man, leaving all on the corner representing the
Dude,
red.
he was
black.
having a good time. Look at his face, man. Like he's just living his best
He's loving
life.
it. Loving it. Living his best life. Yeah.
Hey, and then Mongo, who is in our chat tonight here, Coach must have a bionic rotator cuff.
I'm jealous.
He was moving it. He was moving it.
Well, the other thing too as well, which is actually impressive. So I don't know if you know too, Greg, but basically that hurricane siren was basically attached to like a moving like wheel cart. So it's not like it's like screwed into the floor here. So like it's pretty common for that thing to be moving pretty hard back and forth, especially if you're going that fast. But that thing is locked in solid too as well. So there definitely has to be a certain amount of strength here to be able to go that fast and not do a number on that siren. So huge shout out to Justin Gainey representing there.
How do you like they gave him his NC State number for his jersey or his sweater?
Ooh, I did not even notice that. I love that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I just had to Google it to make sure. I said I thought 12 was his number, so I just actually Googled it to make sure I wasn't wrong before I put that out. But that's nice cool. Nice touch.
I love that.
Hey, think about it this way too, real quick. Like he got the number one game, right? Like who didn't get the number one game?
Yeah, I do that.
I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that.
I will wait. I will wait for the day that they bring in
one of those
Malone to do the siren.
Hell, Manny Diaz got game 2. They didn't even give it to like the newer coach over there, right?
Has
like,
Shire ever even done it? Has Shire ever done it?
I don't. You know me. I don't really follow the Canes like that, so I don't know.
I don't think he does. Not to my recollection.
And they only had Belichick there in the house. He didn't actually
do the siren.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah. His girlfriend declined the option. But hey, you know what? Hey, hats off to Manny Diaz. At the end of the day, guess what? We won the ACC Championship, man.
He's fine.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
So, anywho, though, so one of the things, Greg, I put out a tweet earlier today talking about the Mr. Rett Johnson here, and what a tear this guy has been on this season, and been one of the huge bright spots of this season for sure. Hitting 485 in ACC play, 32 of 66 in his first 18 conference games. I mean,
first off, I do take exception. You're lucky that my Twitter at work was not working properly because I was going to quote tweet you or tweet the channel. You said people haven't been talking about him enough. Now, your boy right here has been talking about him.
I'm just saying people in general, man.
Okay.
Dude, like NC State, nationally, ACC, he's not being talked about enough. He's
Correct.
not.
He's not. That is a true statement. And the problem is he doesn't hit a bunch of home runs. And he doesn't have a lot of RBIs. All he does is just get on base, whether it's a walk, a bunt, an infield hit, a nice drive, out to the outfield, hit by a pitch. Like he's found pretty much every way to get on base this year. And all he does is just get on base. Like you'll see him, and again, it's all quietly, right? And I think it kind of gets to your larger point that it's not being talked about on a national level. You'll just be watching a ball game, and then you'll see him on base here, and you'll see him on base there. And the next thing you know, you look in the 9th inning, he's 4 for 4, and then he's about to get his 5th hit of the game, right? He just goes about it quietly, just gets it done, just plays everything the right way. I mean, he's even old school with actually, I do have a funny story that I was told. I normally don't share parent stories, but I think this is a good one. If you notice, he wears his pant legs kind of like bloused up and pulled up. And I was told the reason for that is he could never find pants that fit him right. When he was younger. So that was just the style that he went with, and it works. And look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And he's an awesome ball player, just like old school, like just an old school kind of player. Anyway, I know you probably wanted to say some stuff, but he's just he's an all around good dude. His family is amazing. But
just want to kind of highlight the positive before he gets to the rest of it, here. But just that. Go ahead.
We better show up with a checkbook, because there's going to be programs coming after him.
Oh God, yes.
He loves NC State. NC State was one of the early teams to show up for him. But it is still a business. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But man, he can be one of the good ones when it's all said and done, if he's here for 3 years, 4 years, depending on how that shakes out for him.
Well, and just a question too of what happens the rest of the season, what happens this upcoming off season as well within the program too as well. Again, this is don't know nothing, but this is just, listen, we know it's not a matter of 5-10 years of, when Avon's going to make a move here. And so what happens? Does Coach Hart step in?
Right.
Who knows? We'll find out.
And there's time for that. Yeah, there's time for that discussion. I mean, we're still in the middle of a race to the postseason, and we've got some work to do to set ourselves up to stay in the conversation. We did pretty decent last week. We did go 2-2. Got a nice one down in the jungle. Smacked them. We smacked them, which was nice.
They're ruining our strength of schedule, man.
Well, no, actually, ECU is actually helping our strength of schedule, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, at this point, yes. At this point,
yes. Yeah. We need to find a rain out on May 5th. We need to pray for rain on May 5th. Because we're playing North Carolina A&T, and they're like number 199, like in the RPI last time I saw, and that will just destroy us unless we win like 99-0. That's just a bad schedule.
Yep.
Yeah, I would have rather had like UNC Greensboro, and they're just slightly better. No offense, Hayes, I love you. But yeah, a lot of work to do. We I hate to say it, but it feels like this is almost a must-sweep weekend. It's definitely so there's 4 series left, right? Yeah, 4 series left. You probably need to win 3 of them to feel good about yourself. Right now, you're kind of
for the NCAA tournament.
For the NCAA tournament, yeah.
Yep.
You're kind of in the bubble area, depending on who you subscribe to. You're looking at the RPI, looking at some of the analytics. Some of these little sites again have us kind of sitting around a 3 seed in a region, and so when you're sitting a 3 seed from a power conference, you're in bubble status.
Yeah.
But you still have some opportunities. You still have Miami. You still have UNC. A top 3, top 4 UNC coming to town to end the season. You go win a series like that or sweep that series. Again, getting ahead of ourselves, but you can make some hay. So 12 games left in the conference. I feel like you got to go 7 and then 5 at a minimum. I feel better at 8-4.
Yeah.
So however you get to that number, you get to that number. But anyway, getting ahead of ourselves a little bit.
So one of the interesting things that's happening this week too, Greg, though, in preparation for the Virginia Tech series at Blacksburg, there's no midweek game this week. Do you see that as a benefit, Greg?
Yeah, that's definitely a benefit. Especially, hold on one second. Actually, you can ask this question too. You can ask our guy Ethan Berry. You can ask Ethan Berry this question.
Ethan, what's up, bud?
How are you guys? Thanks for
there he
having
is.
me on. Late notice. I'm sorry.
No. You always have an open invitation, and I'm glad you took us up on it.
Yeah.
So anyone that's joining us live, we got Ethan Berry from IPS, the IPS baseball whisperer.
Yeah,
I don't know about all that now.
And so I'll ask. So here, I'll ask the question, Ethan. That we were talking about here. So, how did Wake Forest cheat, and why did they do it? No, I'm just kidding. No. I'm
Greg,
just
no. What did you guys say about it?
We haven't. We just wanted to start the baseball conversation.
Yeah. No.
I don't think they did. I am interested to see. They play UNCG at home tomorrow. I am interested to see if UNCG does the same thing. That's something I'm going to tune in. I'm going to turn that game on specifically to see if they do that, because I would guess that like State gave them like a, hey, just so you know. But to me, like the underlying numbers there, like obviously Wake Forest only scored 5 runs on Sunday, but like the walk and strikeout numbers were the same. The power was the same. I reached out to somebody for like chase numbers. Those were the same. So I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
skeptical. I like the idea. I'm a little skeptical of it though.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
No,
was it was different.
I just want to bring that up because there was some rumblings, and even our very own Michael Tracy decided to go and ruffle some feathers and just,
Yeah.
so,
that was a good
funny.
observation by you yesterday, Ethan, that you picked up on the hand signals, and that was definitely a first time this year that we've done that.
First time in years.
Yeah, years. Yeah.
Well, first of all, Greg, Ethan didn't say that. Wolfpack stat said that. So
Oh, yeah, it's true.
you're getting them confused. Okay.
Well, no,
So,
Ethan doesn't hide behind Wolfpack stats. He's come out in public and owned that in the past. So
okay. Hey, listen.
We're not breaking. We're not doxing anybody here.
No.
I'm waiting for the profile picture change then, Ethan. So let me know. Let me know if you help with one. So, no, the actual question. So obviously, we'll talk about the series here a little bit here, but Greg, was kind of getting into about how at this point the VT series kind of seems like a must sweep. We're kind of getting to that point here with only 4 series left in ACC. But the specific question, which I was asking, is it's interesting this week in the fact that you do not have a midweek game. And so do you feel like, Ethan, that is a good thing, or do you think that's, it would be nice to have that midweek game to kind of use as a reset point in preparation for the weekend series versus VT?
Why is that, Greg? Isn't that odd?
I first I thought maybe like finals coming up, but that's not this week. And I thought maybe finals, but it's
because you've got another week when you don't have one when you go to Stanford, right? And that
right.
one, maybe that one's finals. That one makes more sense. That's normal.
Yeah, that is finals week.
Look, State needs all the RPI help they can get. Like you've got NCAA coming up in a couple weeks.
I just mentioned that one.
You got to find a way to get out of that one.
I was praying for rain before you came on. I said I pray for rain on Cinco de Mayo, we get them.
We go through this every year. It's ridiculous that this is still a thing.
Right.
I saw Michigan.
I was getting ready to say that. Yeah, they canceled their game against.
I remember if I sent that to you.
But... No, I saw they canceled their game against Dayton, right? And they picked up Miami of Ohio.
Yeah. I mean, look. With your pitching situation, you're probably better off not having one, to be honest.
I agree.
You need Hemrick on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have Marone.
You wouldn't have had Ryder for Tuesday either.
Yeah, and probably not even Nance.
Right.
So and you can mash your way past NCAA if you end up playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're playing, you need to be playing a good team that would help your RPI. And just you got ECU next week. That's going to be a real test, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
So
and that goes to that point, right? Like how, and you and I have talked about this. Like, do you punt Sundays? Right? I think you can punt Sundays if you win the first 2 games. But if you're in 0-2, 1-1, you got to go out and play hard Sunday. And you saw their approach this past weekend on Sunday with Ryder and Nance, and that's 2 of your better arms. Like, do you end up punting in the midweek then if not?
Well, and that's why you really only have 1 midweek left, and that's why it is kind of beneficial.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, you should be able to beat A&T like 19-15 if you really have to, So and your back end arm should be able to get those outs anyway. So I mean, like you said, and I don't view it as like a punting Sunday. I view it as you punt if you fall behind, which is really what we saw
on Friday
and Saturday. I mean, State went to Aiden Kitchings. Now, I thought they had opportunity if they pulled Consiglio earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 5-4.
Right. Could you have gone to Nance? Could you have gone to Garino? It was going to be one of those type of games. Obviously, they didn't. They end up going to Kitchings.
Well, why would you waste them if they got your pitch com? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Right. But I don't know. I mean, it's tough. And the other thing is some of these guys got to be better too. Like you're going to need outs from them, and some of them were good against ECU. Mm-hmm. And maybe again from that perspective, maybe the pitch com was a real thing. And if it is, and you come out and you hold Virginia Tech to 7 runs this weekend,
Yeah.
Have you been to Wake Forest before? Have you been to that ballpark before? My God, that's a small damn. I thought Foley Field when we went to Georgia a few years ago was small. This was tiny. It's like 300 down the lines, man. And again, like Yeah, 310, and I think it's 310 in one and 300, maybe 310 in both. I can't remember. But even deep center is 500, or not 500, 400.
400, yeah.
With the stupid hill, like I didn't realize they had a hill in that ballpark on the warning track.
They do.
Yeah, it's like a slight incline. It's not. It was not as bad as what Houston used to have at Minute Maid or whatever the hell they call it now.
Yeah.
But there is a slight embankment, if you will. But we played in the same ballpark and we couldn't lift the ball to save our life.
No,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and that's why it was frustrating because we've seen State hit for power like that had come back the last few weeks, and what was it, 1 home run, Mikey Ryan, and I mean it wasn't even like they were close, like there wasn't anything up in the air. And again, look at Wake Forest outs, like even their outs, there were a lot of fly ball outs for Wake Forest. They had a clear goal of getting the ball in the air, and some of them were bobs, some of them were, I think the one on Saturday was like a 50-degree launch signal, which is a pop-up.
Yeah.
But
you're talking about the one that I think the one that went to left field.
Yeah. I mean, there were a few. I think
there was one yesterday that was a pop-up too.
Yeah, there was a few that were pop-ups. I think most of them were legit, but as you said, State played in the same ballpark and didn't hit them. So, we've seen State take advantage of that ballpark many times.
Yeah. We were talking right before you jumped on. We were talking about Rett Johnson and why he's going to be the ACC Freshman of the Year, right? Do you? I mean, I know you follow some of the other teams a little bit more than I do. Like, do you see another freshman out there in the ACC that is kind of putting up those? Again, what I said, and I'll let you chime in with your thoughts. Like, what's holding him back is his home runs and RBIs. But again, that's not what he is, right? And some of that's too, the lower end of the lower half of the lineup isn't producing a lot in order for Rett to drive him in. When you look at 7, 8, and 9, whatever combination that is, that's not a great on base percentage, high K rate. But so those are the two factors that because these voters, let's be real, they're not looking at the deep analytics. A lot of them are looking at raw numbers and superficial numbers. But tell me, like, do you see anyone else in the league, Ethan, that's kind of doing what Rett's doing? And he keeps getting better, by the way.
No. Yeah.
Like he hasn't dropped off in ACC play, which is typically what you see.
Better. Yeah. He's better.
Yeah.
No, he's a lot better.
So Teddy Tokheim, I guess, is the second best. I mean, I say second best. He does have a 1,200 OPS in the ACC, and he's got 10 home runs. So, if you were to look past batting average, I do think he would be. I mean, he's got 22 extra base hits.
Rett's probably got like 5.
Rett has 10.
Oh wow!
But no, I do think it's probably Rett's to lose. I think Tokheim is having a good enough year to where like Rett can't necessarily take his foot off the gas. But I mean, the batting average and on base.
Who does he play for too? Who does he play for?
Stanford, which won't help his case.
Yeah. So sometimes that'll come down to like, okay, who played on the better team and who had protection and so on and so forth. Leighton, do you want me to ask some questions or you want to ask questions? Because I don't want to like ignore you because I still love
I want to get to Marone here eventually because I think that's the question everybody's freaking out about right now is and obviously there's it's
we can do Marone now. No, go ahead. We can do Marone now.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, again, it's injury stuff. It's I don't know. Just I guess
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
They have him listed as week to week, right? So there's a hope if you're listed as week to week and that the staff is being truthful and honest on this, which we have no reason not to believe.
Sure.
Like there's a chance for him to be back, right?
Sure.
Like if you're going week to week, obviously week to week is week to week, but with it being Marone and being a pitcher and being his draft year, I would hope they would be more on the precautionary side and not rush him back, right? For those reasons. And like people want to talk in social media and say what they want to say, but like I always feel that the staff does the pitchers right. Like I don't feel like they put them in jeopardy. I've had folks come out and say like, yeah, like I've worked with the team before. If there's a sign of an arm injury, they're shutting them down. Like they don't play with arm injuries. Like that's a pretty serious thing. But Ethan, what are your thoughts on Marone and week to week and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean that's more up your alley, but
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
I think you do have. You're right. You got to be careful. You kind of have to. You've got to be able to pitch to parents and agents now, high school coaches, that you're going to take care of their kids. And if you are going to throw a pitcher out there when, as you mentioned, 3 months before he's drafted, you're going to have some explaining to do. Like you've got to be certain that he's 100% healthy, and Marone's going to want to go out there. You know that. And State's better with him out there, obviously. No question about that. State's got a chance to win a regional with him. I don't know,
it's a lot tougher without him.
It's a lot tougher.
Oh, it's extremely tougher.
I mean, I know we're homers, but we can't even homer that into truth. Like it's significantly different. Like you felt really good with both Duden and Marone, and then you lose Duden, and you're like, well, we still got Marone. Like he can go out and win the game one, because again, this staff, you have to win game one. You probably have to win game two to feel really good about advancing in a regional. Anything less, it's an uphill battle, especially after you saw what you saw this past weekend. If what we saw was legit, not tampered with.
Oh boy.
Right. But I think you can get by with just Marone in a regional. I really do.
I agree.
Now you've got to manage things correctly. You need Consiglio to throw well. You need a good start from Heath Andrews. But you can get there. There's no doubt you can get there. And you need a good matchup. You need a good draw.
You get a good ballpark.
Yeah. But his health has to come first. I mean, you're looking at a 7-figure payday, no doubt, a couple months away, and you've got to be able to go sell to the next guy, whether it's in the portal, whether it's in high school, whether it's a player on your current roster who has other options. You've got to be able to sell, hey, we're going to take care of your guy. We're going to prioritize his health above all else. And, the timing is certainly unfortunate, but, if you handle it correctly, hopefully it can pay off on the field and long term.
Yeah. Agreed.
With the Virginia Tech series, Greg, compared to the other series that are still coming up here in this regular season, do you expect there's a more than likely, if he is week to week, that you're more likely not going to see him against Virginia Tech?
I would put Ethan's paycheck on it that we don't see him this weekend.
Okay,
that's what I was going to ask. Is he actually week to week? I don't think anybody buys that, right?
Yeah, I don't think week to week per se. But I don't see it being like a two. I don't see it. I had to be careful here. I don't see it a month to month injury. How about that? Right? Like I don't see.
Well, let me phrase it to you this way: you've got 4 weeks of ACC play left.
Yeah.
Then you've got the ACC tournament. So you're playing in a regional. And it's Monday night. So you're playing in a regional in 5 weeks and 5 days, basically 4 days, whatever. That regional can't be the first start back. I don't even know that the ACC tournament can be the first start back. So to me, you've got until the last week of the regular
season. Who says you have to start him?
That's fair.
I don't know why, if he's available, I don't know why he wouldn't start.
That's fair too. I know nothing. I'm just throwing it out there. Like
you could make that.
And I know you make this argument, right? You've made this argument about Nance a few weeks ago. Like, well, if he was available, why didn't you just bring him out in the ninth instead of bringing him in halfway through the ninth? Again, that was the Notre Dame, kerfuffle, if you will.
Right.
No, you're right though. He has to see some kind of live action.
It's UNC the last week of the year, is that right?
That's correct.
He's got to pitch in that series. He has to.
Yes.
Well, especially if you look at it, that would be his last series in an NC State uniform at the Doak.
That's true.
And I mean, we can't even take for granted making the tournament. I mean, you may need to throw him to there just to make it.
Well, and I think that has a lot to play with it too, as well. In that, in my opinion, you kind of let the Virginia Tech series play out. If it plays out as you expect it to, then if things are looking positive in his development, then great. Let's see where we can fit him back in before that ACC tournament. But if it goes south, then what really more are you? You're okay. Now you're playing behind the 8 ball in terms of making the NCAA tournament, and you're in a huge uphill battle. And do you even risk with Marone, with everything that he has to play for, with his professional career coming up here as well? So it's just.
Well, and if he comes in, is he going to be on a pitch count, right? Like I would assume he probably would be on some kind of pitch count.
Easily.
Like he's definitely not coming back in his first start back, whatever that looks like, whenever that is, and throw 116 pitches. And
God,
yes,
no.
I said 116 pitches because, well, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Greg. Yeah, man. Look, dude, I love the pokes we're implementing during this baseball part here, man. I love it.
I have my most fun with baseball. But no, he has to I think he has to have some kind of action. I don't know, like, Ethan, depends on like where we're at in the ACC tournament. Like, if we're in a position where we're probably not going to win it, like if we're like a 8, 9, 10 seed, which could happen depending on how the next couple of weeks play out, because there's some bunching there and tiebreakers. Maybe you do throw him out there just to get him some exposure. Again, I don't know. Like honestly, don't even know if he'll even be ready then. And if that's the case, I would think you would probably shut him down and you wouldn't throw him in a regional. Again, that would be some serious discussions that would have to be had with the player, the family, doctors, all of that stuff, right? I think you'd have to have some serious conversations to is the juice worth the squeeze on it at that point?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's and hopefully it doesn't get to that point. Hopefully it's
No.
I mean, even if you're looking at, like, we're calling it week to week, right? Even if it's 3-4 weeks, like, again, that gives you a little bit of a buffer. That gives
It
you
does.
2 potential starts headed into regionals. And if you end up, if you throw them against UNC that last week of the year, and then even if it's a short outing the next week in the ACC tournament, which, again, I can't imagine that State's in a situation where they don't have anything to play for there. Like, I just think the RPI, they're gonna have to find ways to help it. And the ACC tournaments, either you're going to play somebody who's going to drag you down, or you're going to play somebody who is a real opportunity to help yourself out. So
depending on where you're, but right, to your point, right? If you're a 6 seed, you're going to probably play someone that's going to drag you down. But if you're an 8 or 9, you're going to play someone that could potentially give you a little bump.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if you want to be playing with that fire in either situation.
No.
Real quick, let's move on. Go ahead, Leighton.
Well, no, I was going to say real quick, and this is for the true fans that are listening now, that were listening back when we started this conversation, Greg, at the beginning of this podcast. The other reason why the Stanley Cup is the hardest game to win is because overtimes you play until somebody scores, and I don't care if it's 3 periods, 4 periods.
Baseball's the same way. I mean, hell, there was a game this past weekend that ended on a damn balk in the 18th inning.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, that's brutal, man.
That's a brutal way to
brutal.
Yeah. But go ahead, Greg.
We don't win yesterday without Ryder Garino throwing the way he threw.
I was going to bring him up. Love that, my boy Ryder, man.
Yeah, Ryder, he can do it in a what do you think is more important? Ryder out of the pen or Ryder starting a midweek game?
Well, again, I think midweeks are tough because you have one left.
We have one left. Yeah, that's true. I don't know
if
why
you're talking
I would even
like
bring
midweeks
that.
At the beginning of the year, that would probably be my answer. And I've always been a guy who really values the midweeks. I mean, think about where State is without some of these midweek wins. Like, you have a win over ECU, you have 2 wins against UNCW, you played
one against Coastal.
One against Coastal. Yeah, that's the best win of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right there with Florida State. But anyway, if it was beginning of the year, I would say midweek. At this point, you've got one left. I think it's in the bullpen.
That's fair. But to his point, I mean, he was great yesterday. This is another one. He pitched really well against Notre Dame a few weeks ago. Very similar kind of stat line. His only blemish was a home run, a solo shot. Again, I put a post out earlier, and I once I sent it, I was like, that didn't really phrase right. And I said he was really good except for the lone home run he gave up. But again, that was a pop-up at the Doak. It was a unfortunate ballpark situation. But he was just really good yesterday. If he doesn't pitch like that yesterday, we don't come back and win. I mean, he held those bats pretty silent and gave us a chance to kind of claw our way back into it. Kind of like I felt like too, like Ryder's gotten better as the season has gone along. How would you assess that too, Ethan?
Yeah. He's been excellent. He stepped up. It was like he wasn't, going into to the season, into ACC play, even like he was down the list. He was behind Nance. He was behind Collins Black. I think he was even behind some of the other guys. And I know, we talked about it a little bit. Like there were some reasons for that slow start why he wasn't as available early on. But
Yeah.
once he's kind of gotten into the groove, like he's surpassed pretty much everybody. I mean, you could make the case at this point that he's better. He's been better than Nance this season. Now, again, like if the game's on the line, I still want Nance out there.
I agree.
But Garino's been right there. And, the way I view it, you need 5, maybe 6 pitchers in a regional. There's no doubt he's one of those 5 guys. And look, even without Marone, I think State has their 6.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be 5, 6 with Marone. But I have a ton of faith in Garino. His fastball, it's only 88 to 90, but
it's deceptive.
It's deceptive, and it plays up from where it is. You can tell that. I think it's a low release height for him. It moves, and his ability to miss bats at that velocity is really, really impressive. So
yeah.
he's been excellent. He's taken a big step forward from where he was last year at South Carolina, where he showed some flashes, but he's been really, really good for State. And like you said, if they're going to do anything in a regional, they're going to need. They've been getting this every week from him at this point. It's a couple innings, 2, 3. Yesterday was 3 1/3, which I thought was kind of an inning too long, but it ended up working out. He's been nails every time.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the second lowest ERA on the staff at 3.33. He's not qualified just because he just hasn't had enough appearances. But you were talking about his velocity. I think he's a guy. He's got a frame where if you can put on another 15 pounds or so of muscle, you could see it uptick in his velo by 2 or 3 miles an hour, which could put him in a good range. He's still working his way back from some stuff that he has to put the weight back on. But yeah, if he's a guy that you can kind of keep, I feel like you can even slot him into your starting rotation next year. Again, depending on if you're able to retain him.
Gun to your head, what's your starting rotation next year right now?
Oh,
but it should be easy.
Yeah. Obviously, you're going to go with Luke Hemrick. He was probably your number 1. Well, does Nance come back?
You tell me, Greg.
If Nance comes back, he's probably your number 1 guy.
Greg, it's April 20th. I really don't like that you're putting an if on that right now.
You don't know, man. Like, there's, again, does Avent come back? If Avent doesn't come back, who doesn't want to be here? Like who becomes the head coach? Are they able to there's too many, the what if game sucks, Ethan, and you know this.
Yeah. But you're playing that with him and not with Hemrick.
Look at that.
I think, well, okay, so inside baseball, both his parents went to State. Both of Hemrick's parents went to State. Yeah. He's an Apex kid. I think you have a better chance of retaining him than Nance. Not to say that Nance is an absolute yes or no. Like, again, and I hate this because I love everybody on the staff. And so assuming that you have Hemrick, you have Nance, I could see you maybe sliding it. Yeah, that's too easy.
The third one is a little up in the air.
Agreed.
I think Garino would.
I could see Garino. Sense, yeah, but I could see Sam Harris. What does Aiden Kitchens come back with? Who was the other freshman? Oh no, Hemrick is the other freshman. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I could foresee. But again, that's so far in the future. DH. Let's talk DH for a minute.
We'll do this last topic, Greg, and then I want to jump over and wrap this thing up here. But go ahead, Greg. Yeah, let's jump DH here.
We have to find something at DH that's sustainable.
Something, or like I mean, like you have a lot of some things. That's the problem, though. You have a lot of some things. Would you?
I mean, whoever it is, whether it's Bargo, whether it's Wiggins, whether it's Novi, someone just has to take that and run with it. And I just feel that the opportunities that you've given all 3, none of them have just wowed you. They've all done a little bit of something. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but no one's been consistent and no one's just kind of ran with it. But I also want to say on the flip side, like, has the coaches really truly given someone to run with it? Because again, when you see Novi or Wiggins in there at DH, they tend to pinch hit for them when a pitching change happens. So Ethan, just kind of like, are we gonna figure 7, 8, and 9 out? I'll even take it even bigger than that.
I think State has their answer. Like I don't see anything changing at this point.
No.
And it's frustrating. This goes back to last year too. This was the same exact problem. You didn't pick a DH last year, and you had Ryder Woodson sitting on the bench. You had one of my suggestions last year: put Jet Gilliam in the outfield and DH Josh Hogue. Do not go look at what Jet Gilliam has done at Utah this year. Don't look. Don't look.
Or Ryder Woodson.
Or what we knew about Woodson.
Yeah.
He's obviously
more of a third baseman. Yeah.
He's more of a third baseman. He's also at a high profile school. So
yeah.
I
think we've been fine. I think we've been fine at short and third. Like, it's not the reason.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's more about last year. But anyway, I think State has their answer. I think it's a platoon. Bargo will start. It's weird that they've and I know I'm the Andrew Wiggins guy. It's just weird. Like, if you don't want to play him, don't play him. Like, don't halfway, we're going to play him sometimes. We're going to pinch hit for him in the middle of the at-bat. And credit to Ava. That move ended up working out. I
told you to Carlo yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, that was a really good move. It paid off. I don't people act like Andrew Wiggins just has this huge strikeout problem.
He does.
It's like a sub 20% strikeout rate. I think he struck out once or twice in ACC play.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to play, hey, you have your reasons for not playing him. Cool, don't play him, but also don't half-heartedly not play him. They think if Bargo's the guy, Bargo's the guy. Platoon him and Novi. And I think that's what it is. It's Novi against a lefty and Bargo against a righty. And then if you end up going back to a righty, you'll see Wiggins. Is the
you mean a lefty? Oh, you mean righty pitcher? You're talking about the righty pitcher. Yeah, got you. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys talked about the Sherman Johnson injury. That really limits. Again, not that I'd say it limits your options, but we haven't seen Wyatt Pfeiffer at all, so I don't think that was really under consideration.
He had a good bunt. He had a good bunt.
Yeah, he had a good bunt. Yeah, and he'll be really solid defensively for you at third base.
Yep.
Braden Fraseman, I mean, you've played him for a year and a half. He's been the same exact guy for a year and a half.
By the way, it doesn't take a genius to look at the scout. Just throw him off speed, like a slider or curveball, and in the left-handed batter's box, he's got to swing at it every time. It just is. It's rinse and repeat when you see his pitch selection. Everything he sees, it's like, a fastball out of the zone, maybe a breaking ball, and then some kind of sweeper, and he just goes and fishing for it every time. Like, it reminds me of the movie A League of Their Own, and she's like lay off the high one, and she's like hag nag. That's the exact sequence of what Braden Fraseman is. It's like lay off of it, and every time it's just, Anyway, that's my rant for the night.
Yeah,
well, actually, what really grinds my gears?
Yeah, Fraseman chasing balls. Like yesterday, he chased one and then hit it back to the pitcher, and I was like, "Holy cow!" He actually made contact, but again, it was just to the pitcher. It's just like if he could just lay off that pitch. Like, I know it's so easy for us that the fat guy.
Easier said than done, for sure. Yeah. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't know what the alternative is there. Like.
Yeah.
Haven't played anybody else. Like I don't see that happening now. So
again, you value his glove a lot, right?
His glove has been good, and I think he deserves credit for that. I think from the jump that he's made from last year to this year, I think he deserves 100%. Credit for that. He's much 100%. Better defensively, and I think that's a big reason why you're okay leaving him out there.
Yeah. So, fellas, one thing I did want to bring up before we wrap this up here, which, Greg, I'll give you an opportunity. Any final thoughts, comments here on baseball here before I move us off of it?
Yeah, Ethan, you kind of rolled your eyes when I said we had to go 3-0 this weekend. Do you disagree?
Yeah, I disagree. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, Virginia Tech's top 50 in RPI. Like, this is a series where, and it's weird. They're like 19-19 overall. Which is weird. Like, I was watching, I don't know if you guys saw the D1 projected field, but they had Virginia Tech in the field, and then they were like, wait a second, they're under 500. But their RPI is so good. It's just kind of like, okay. So from an RPI perspective, this should help State. I mean, if you win 2 out of 3, your RPI is going to jump again. Even 1 out of 3, your RPI may jump. So no, I don't feel the need for a sweep. Certainly a sweep would give you some breathing room, no doubt. Yeah. Where I think at that point you could definitely start to feel confident about State definitively being in a regional. But
the only reason I said sweep is because statistically, even with their decent RPI, it's going to get tougher with Miami and Carolina, even though you have those 2 at home, and you do have Stanford. And they're not necessarily good by any stretch of imagination, but you got to go across the country to play that series.
Well, and you played them at the end of the year last year.
Yeah,
so
we did not do well.
Right. So that's why I think it's the breathing room really more than anything. And
yeah,
again, State really, even 14 and 16, if the RPI is where it needs to be, it'll be fine.
But here's my thing. ACC. I don't want to leave it up to a committee to choose our fate.
Agree. Yeah, agree. Mm-hmm. But again, then you go back to the non-conference schedule where you're doing that.
Yeah. And we had a much better RPI in 22 when we got left out.
Yeah.
True.
So what is the committee looking for? So that's why that's the reason. Yes, you don't technically have to have a sweep, but I feel like if you're going to gain momentum, this is a great way to do it because you're on the road against a team. And you're not going to have like this easier of an opportunity, not easy, but easier.
Sure. Now, quick question here. And Ethan, since you're our guest, I'll let you answer first, but what kind of reception do you think Alex Sosa will get when he returns to Doak?
It's weird. Like, I feel like those transfers have just kind of become the norm. Like, and it's tough that's what it's turned into, but I don't know. And, baseball's hard. Like, how many diehards are there like us? Like how many people 3,000 people will be at the game. How many of those people are going to know who Alex Sosa is?
Right. And I'll take it one step further. We don't take baseball as serious. Like if Alex Sosa played for ECU and went back to ECU, he'd have hell on his hands. Right. If he played for Georgia Tech, Clemson, any of those teams where they take, like you've been saying, the fans take baseball serious, and student sections actually show up and give the opposing team all they can get. Like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything.
He'll probably get some like light blues.
A couple.
Yeah, I don't see it being.
Now, if he goes and hits 4 home runs and hits for a cycle or something like that, then people will remember his name really fast. But
if he does something to
I knew we should have kept him over Lanphier.
If he does something to instigate, I guess I could see that.
That's not his style.
Yeah, if not, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So now, Greg, since we brought up one last topic I want to bring up that goes really great with our segment.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Is that it's always been my tradition every single year, Greg, whenever it happens, was at football games during the military appreciation game, and they will call off the halftime show performance, specifically the plane jumpers, because of winds. And it's like, what wins? Like it's barely even breezy here. Like, what do you mean? And now, Greg, unfortunately, I'll never again be able to complain about that and say, they should go out there, because man, you could go viral on Twitter. I mean, viral to the point of I looked it up. I had to see 4 different angles of it in order to make sure it wasn't AI generated, honestly. And for those that are living under a rock, they don't know what I'm talking about. During the spring game of Virginia Tech, there was what's the technical word? Paratrooper. Thank you. A paratrooper that banged into the front of the Virginia Tech football scoreboard and actually got caught up there. And yeah, man, that went everywhere. But was I the only one I thought that was AI generated at first? Was I the only one?
I didn't think it was AI generated, but again, nothing surprises me if it would have been. But when I saw like 5 or 6 different camera angles or different people posting a different version of it, then that was the key. Like, no, it's not AI, but
it's real.
Wow. No, that was pretty serious stuff.
He could have been seriously injured.
Yeah. He busted the hell out of that seat.
Died.
Yeah. Like, is he gonna get a bill for that? Like, I don't know.
Well, somebody's getting the stern talking to. That's for sure. I don't know who, but somebody.
Hey, what is James Franklin thinking? Like, dude, this is the start of my tenure here at Virginia Tech. Like, it literally is hanging in the balance. Like, the dude is up 300 feet or whatever. It wasn't 300 feet, but I actually was told a funny story over the weekend yesterday by one of the parents, Brent Morris, who is Caden Morris's dad. He was telling me that years and years ago, the Grateful Dead were playing at Carter Finley, and they ordered a similar thing with the paratrooper guys jumping into the Carter Finley to get the concert started. And they called in and said, "No, man, like the wind's really bad. There's thunderstorms. Like we're not jumping." And the promoter or whatever is like, "No, bro, like we paid you. You're going to jump." And apparently they jumped, never landed in Carter Finley. Apparently they landed in Cary.
Oh, shoot.
How long ago was this?
Grateful Dead. So it was probably like late 70s, early 80s, I would imagine. But, and if you think about it too, like the 70s and 80s in the Raleigh area, like it wasn't as developed as it was, and lots of farms and trees. So like, I don't even know where in Cary they supposedly landed, but the wind will take you when you are in one of those little sails.
Parts of Cary aren't far from there either.
No, they're not. No, because you have over like where the Bass Pro Shop is. That's just up the road from Carter Finley, not too far, but still, it's pretty funny to think about it in those terms.
Yeah. But hey, and it didn't help either the case too when I thought it was AI generated. When right before that, I saw there was a video going around that the Bus and the Boys quote tweeted with the Oklahoma Sooners entrance where all the guys were going through the smoke and one of the guys tripped and they just had like a dog pile in the middle of the smoke and stuff. And apparently that was from actually a couple of years ago, but apparently actually was a thing, but it was just a couple of years ago that happened. But, so again, it's just the day. It's just the day and age we live in, Greg. Is it AI generated is the first question. So anywho though, so Ethan, man, I shared some that really grinds my gears. Greg something that shared something that really grinds his gears. Do you have anything, Ethan, you want to share about that really grinds your gears?
Oh man, put me on the spot.
And it can't be about Wiggins.
What? And here, let me set you up, Greg. Let me set you up, Ethan. So here you go.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Mid-count pitching changes.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
State does that a lot, both offensively and defensively. Yeah.
And so why is it more of just like finish what you started, or?
It's more about like set your guys up for success. I think that's how I would describe it. Like help them out. Pull a pitcher preemptively, before they get into trouble. Don't wait for them to get in trouble. If they're ready to start a count, like obviously we saw Duden got pulled, mid-count. That was a different situation. But it seems like every pitching change is like mid-count. It's like you wait to see how the at-bat starts and then you go from there. But no, I don't know. Like, Avon's always done it. Like, it just kind of is what it is. And it feels like it's worked out many times actually. But obviously the move to DeCarlo might have won in the game yesterday. But yeah, in general, it's not as aesthetically pleasing for me, which of course doesn't matter at all. But I don't know. That was the first thing that came to mind.
It's funny though, right? It's like you have faith in your guys to finish the fight, if you will, but you also have faith in your guys to finish the fight if they get inserted after the fact. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those weird things. Yeah. And you see it with the pitching too. It's like you have guy at first and second, and you think, okay, they can work themselves out of it. And then they throw 4 pitches and it's 4 balls. And now you have bases loaded. And now you have to bring someone else in and they have to be perfect in order to get out. And I know we've seen that a couple of times this year where the first guy, it's taken them a batter or two to get settled in, but they end up walking a guy or two. And now you've given up a run or so. And it's just like, it's so frustrating. And I'm with you on that grinding my gears. That's a really good one.
Yeah. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, if you want to go and follow Ethan for sure, and even support him as well, make sure to go to his, I guess now publicly known Twitter page, Wolfpack Stats.
Hold on. Can I pause real quick? Because
what's that?
I have a question for Ethan, and I wasn't able. I was at work, and I was going to watch it this evening, and I just hadn't got there. You got Patreon?
Yeah, I just started a Patreon up this week. Yeah, so we'll see.
When do I get my free access? Like, when do I get my 1 free week trial?
I got to figure out how that works. I'm pretty sure there's a free trial up for everybody, but I got to figure out how free access works. I'm still trying to sort through it, but yeah, I'm trying to put something up every day, Monday through Friday. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, if you ever want someone to hop on, man, I'll always hop on.
Yeah,
with you.
I'm working on setting up a guest. I'm trying to get like a pretty big name from inside the athletic department to start. So, and then we'll kind of go from there.
I'm just kidding.
You're not inside the athletic department, Greg. So
I mean, I might as well be at this
close.
point.
You're close.
I'm close.
Yeah.
I'm close.
No, but we'll
No,
definitely
that's cool.
be getting some guests on for sure. So, and then like I said, daily videos that aren't even like podcasts. It's just kind of like screen recording as I'm talking through what I see. And then we'll do like podcasts other than that too. So, yeah, Patreon just got it started. NC State Stats. So, yeah,
There you go.
I'm trying
I'm
to
on
keep
here
it to,
promoting you. You're not even on here promoting yourself. I'm on here promoting you.
I know, I appreciate it. Yeah, 15. I'm trying to keep it to 15 minutes, and then baseball I went 25 minutes, of course. So
Of course.
as State gets outscored by 20 runs in 3 games, but
Well, it's a
yeah.
minute for every run. I get it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like the SEC Shorts episode where it's like like where the guys like went to the drive-through and ordered and they're LSU fans and they're like I'd like to order the Tiger Nuggets, and they're like, well, we don't really recommend ordering Tiger Nuggets. Why? It's one nugget for every rushing yard that the Tigers had, and they had like negative rushing yards that game, so it was a funny poke. Same thing. Yeah, exactly. You could run a special, Ethan, for 1 week only. You get access for 10 cents for every run that
I would do
that we
$1.
scored.
I would do $1 for each person on the LSU basketball roster, but then you wouldn't make any money.
They're up to 1 now.
Oh, they have to 1? Okay, I missed
up to
one. They
1.
got 1 today. All right.
Well, yeah, I saw Tiger Bates tweet out something like it was like a GIF or a GIF. No, I'm not gonna get into that. And it was like, oh man, LSU is about to make a splash, and I'm like,
well,
okay,
let's see. Like, I'm not dancing on Will Wade's grave yet in that regard. I think they may end up with Mika Murin and Ryan Hampton. We'll see.
Hey, they could. Hey, then why didn't they have PJ Haggerty, Ethan? Hey, PJ said no to him twice.
He did say no to him twice. I don't know if he said no last year, but
but it's just interesting though. Like that like in my opinion, that seemed like a layup option for Wade to get PJ, but it didn't happen. So
it did. We'll see. And I know you guys talk basketball. I'm not going to rehash it, but
no, go for it.
I really like what Gainey's doing. I like the Paul McNeel situation. We'll see, but I like what I'm seeing from Justin Gainey in terms of roster building, which was my biggest question.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll give you 2 minutes. You got anything else? Go ahead.
Okay,
give it to me. I always love Ethan's takes. Like we talk all the time. Yep. Ethan's my official Twitter battle buddy. So he's always got good takes.
Yeah, I mean, I love the 2 guards, right? I mean, you start there, Hammond and Edmead. I mean, just in terms of a shooting perspective, and if you add McNeel, I don't know what you guys said about McNeel. I wasn't able to be on.
Basically, we said it's after 10 o'clock. Shit or get off the pot.
Like, yeah, no question. No question. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you guys had like. It seems like somebody put out today. Greg, all your burner buddies seemed like they had something.
Well, we talked about it.
We talked about it.
Which I get. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. So, those guys have jumped the gun before, so we'll see. But, I mean, that's as good of a shooting trio as you'll find in the country.
Let me ask you this then, real quick. What number would you be comfortable giving him?
We're way past that point. I would have drawn the line at $2 million.
Okay. Yeah, someone in the chat said 2 million earlier. So
I would have drawn the line at 2 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because of what we're constrained at?
No, not even that. I just you need to see more. Like he's a great shooter. He's a great shooter, and I think he could potentially take a step forward with the rest of his offensive game, but he hasn't yet. Are we are you paying for loyalty? Are you paying for sentimental? Are you paying for that? Or are you paying for production and what you expect him to do next year? I don't know why you would expect him to take that step forward offensively. Now, if you project him to do that, then, that makes sense. But, you have 2 shooters who are right behind what McNeel does. Yeah. Beyond capable. Edmead is in the same universe as McNeel. Like, he is right there with him. And Hammond, maybe a step down, but yeah. And I like the possibility of the bigs that State has. James and I had taped something on that actually right before I hopped on, but I like those options. I've been pleasantly surprised. I think they're doing, from what I can tell, they're doing a good job. Balancing the budget, staying disciplined, and again, we'll see where it goes. You add McNeel, you add a couple of these bigs, and you'll be cooking.
Could you see McNeel mucking up the water if he were to come back with not enough ball to go around 3 players for shooting, or you don't think that's a problem?
I mean, McNeel hasn't been a high usage guy, and neither has Hammond's not really a high usage guy either. So I think you have room for two high usage guys. Edmead is one of them. Like I definitely consider him a high usage guy. He's over 25% usage rate. McNeel and Hammond have not to this point have not been that high. So I think you have room for one of them to take a step forward, and presumably it would be McNeel if he's able to show off more of that all around game.
Yeah, and real quick, you saw, especially when we play like Virginia and a couple of teams towards the end of the season, Virginia Tech did a really nice job at limiting McNeel's touches, and we didn't do a really good job of freeing him up, whether that's, ball movement, screenage, all of that stuff. So to your point, he's either going to have to create his own, or you're going to have to run an offense to where you can clear him for shots.
Well, and I thought too, some of that was Kadir Copeland became a little bit more guardable. And I thought McNeel's production was really tied to Copeland. If Copeland's able to create shots for McNeel's life is easier. Same thing with Van Allen Lubin. If the other team did a good job guarding Copeland, it made those guys' life harder. So to me, the difference there is that Mead is more of a scorer, right? Copeland wasn't really a scorer.
Right. He forced himself into a score, but not by trait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And as good of a shooter as Edmead is, like he can create too. I don't foresee that being as big of an issue against the better teams he play. But again, him being able to, with the way he elevates and his ability to create separation on his own shot, he should be able to get that shot at any point, or a shot at any point. And then it just comes down to developing more around that.
Yeah, good point.
By the way, too, though, I have a conspiracy theory out there that the guy.
Well, we've been running them all night. Why stop now?
Yeah, that the guy that called Will Wade a pair as he was driving through the gate to the airport is the pair rating guy account on Twitter, and he was just trying to do advertisement. That's what
that account is busted out onto the scene. Like I had never heard of it until Ethan, you pointed it out like at the beginning of the season, and that's a really good site.
That's a good dude. Yeah, it's a good dude. He's an Arkansas fan, so he's a good dude. I love the site. I use it all the time.
Well, hey, maybe he flew all the way here just to fucking pair and pair rating. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, we're getting off the rails.
Okay, like now we got off the rails. Okay, anyway, so yeah, with that being said, as I was going to promote the man Ethan himself as well, Wolfpack stats, make sure to go or NC State stat, at NC State stats, Wolfpack stats. Ethan, why'd you do that?
NC State stats on Twitter. I'm pretty sure I have a Substack. I don't know how much I'll use it, but Patreon as well.
I've never used Substack. I need to figure out what Substack is.
I like Substack.
I'm a boomer.
Yeah, you are a boomer. I like Substack. I just prefer to talk than write sometimes.
Me too.
So that was why I ended up on Patreon instead. But yeah, and then obviously all the podcasts with James over at IPS.
Let's go. With that being said, Wolfpack Nation, for us, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you haven't already. If both those things are lighting up for you, that means you need to hit them right now. And then also to make sure to give us a follow at Tuffy Duck Now on Twitter, and also to as well, if you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to us, do us a big favor, leave us a 5-star review. Greatly appreciate that as well. With that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we appreciate y'all. We'll love y'all, and we'll see y'all soon. And as always, go Pack, y'all. Beat VT, baby.